Thank you and welcome back. We have just been joined by two prominent and eminent Africans. He is the High Representative to the UN on African Union and International Human Rights Council, promoting the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals titled 2030 Agenda. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome all the way from Sierra Leone, Ambassador Fode Mansari. Let's put our hands together for him. I have here the very first, today is the night of first, the very first African-born Nigerian to be a councilman in the city or the township of Franklin. Ladies and gentlemen, help me welcome the Honorable Charles Onyejaka. Yeah, let me underline that. Elected councilman of African Extract. Thank you, gentlemen, for joining us.
Thank you.
Honorable Mansari, or Your Excellency, please. I know you are working on the 2030 agenda. We have been talking about how to empower our youth, especially in the community. We have talked about source of funding. We have looked about limitations and obstacles to our people in terms of funding. I know that United Nations, even though one can say there are lots of funding in the United Nations, how can we take advantage of them? Please tell us available fundings, or go ahead and give us an elaborate position of 2030 agenda.
Well, the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals 2030 agenda, it focuses on how African countries or how developing nations can become independent by the year 2030. And most of what we do, those goals are listed from 1 to 17, and education goal is number 4. So we focus number 4 as the main people as to how we can mobilize the other goals to reach what we're trying to do. I know we spoke initially about education. Last year we signed an agreement with 2 universities here in the US where we are going to be doing online education. Reason why I brought that out, because the online education part of things where people are going to be able to actually go to school. We're going to have a blackboard. You're going to actually get accredited education whilst you're in Africa. I can't say we are teaching people how not to come to America, but the cost of college tuition will be dramatically reduced by you doing those online education. And where Trump was talking about, if you are coming to America, you are not coming as a laborer anymore. And this is really, really critical for African countries to also take advantage of some of these things that we are going to be doing. And we are promoting what is called the STEM education, which African countries are really lagging behind. Because of that...
Sorry, by STEM, do you mean science, technology,
yes,
engineering, and mathematics?
Yes, absolutely. So we are focusing on the STEM education, where African is lagging behind. You talk about how we can do manufacturing. People don't have to have a PhD. I encourage you to go to school and get your PhD. But there are people who have specific skill sets. Sometimes they're good with their hands. They are good with making things. We train people in those directions where you can help your local economy. What we did with the Bethune-Cookman University, I will take a step back. When America didn't colonize nobody, so did Russia, but the British did. But the fight for Africa, to conquer Africa, everybody used education as a tool. You can see the Patrick Lumumba University, which Russia matches out of Russia, and America started what was called the BCUs. Columbia University's focuses on the BCUs. And in fact, the eminent professor that I am working with on education is Professor Jeffrey Sachs at Columbia University. He wrote the Millennium Challenge, and now we have the which we call the Sustainable Development Goal. Is a bridge that was put together to somewhere as opposed to the MCC. The focus here is how you can use education to train people to transform beyond boundaries. And I know we don't have time to talk about most of these things today, but I want you to know that even in Nigeria itself, I don't know, sometimes I try to call some of these states in Nigeria, I'm struggling myself. But we work in the 4 major states on agriculture. Science and technology, we are bringing technology transfer and working with like Guyana, who is the largest rice producer. All of this is built around education. And we're taking the social education part of things where, say for example, like in Guyana, they have the highest suicide rate in the world among women. So how do we reduce that? Through education. And we take all of those components, break it, and then see what works in the smaller countries, how we can go to Democratic Republic of Congo with 7 million people in Kinshasa, or a smaller state in Nigeria. So once we have all of this model in place, we believe we can teach people how not to come to America. That's the goal.
Thank you, sir. I wonder if people will take that advice. I've advised my own younger ones, don't come to America. They said, no, you are there, we want to come first.
Well, in a way, it's not teach people how not to come to America, because if you're successful, we look at this from a whole different perspective. We take the Libya slave trade, for example. Why would a kid be motivated to leave school in Africa and take a journey 1,000 miles across the Atlantic Ocean, the desert, and then another 2 weeks on the Atlantic Ocean? It's desperation. We need to change it. If we have proper education anywhere, because the classroom is a matter of us having pointing it and have internet, which is Africa is now, we are part of the gateway, and we can encourage these kids to stay in school. And that is the tool I think Africa, or even here that we're talking about, to encourage people to really stay in school. And we have to make it easier, because if you say you're taking the traditional education, my professor here will tell you, you spend more time paying your student loan than you're going to pay your mortgage. Between those two things, I speak now as an economist, you retire broke.
And you're absolutely correct. That is the vicious cycle that we are in, and we will look for a way to break it. Honorable Councilman, please speak to the desperation that we see among Africans trying to leave the shores of Africa by all means, even at the peril of their own lives, just to get out. And then you segue to your experience as a councilman and the first African councilman in the beautiful township of Franklin.
Yes, thank you very much. Franklin is one of the richest towns in New Jersey and Somerset County. Business is one of the factors we use in running Franklin. We get money from business and we spend money on the kids, development of our kids. is very, very important. In Nigeria, we know that things are very difficult over there. And these kids, they're looking for a way to elevate their status. The only way they say that they can elevate their status is by coming to America. In Franklin, we protect them. We encourage our kids. We have all the factors that will encourage the kids to stay in school, to make sure they are not involved in crime, because when they're involved in the crime, it costs the city a lot of money. We spend a lot of money in the city. So we do everything possible to make sure that we breed good kids. We put them in school, we make sure that our educational system, is one of the best. Franklin is one of the best cities to raise kids in America. Good. So it's very, very important. But in Nigeria, our educational system is not propelled towards that self-sufficiency. The kids will go to school. When they come out from the school, they don't have a job. So when they don't have a job, any means that they found that they can move forward, they try to exploit that process. That is why desperation is not good among our kids. But here in America, our educational system, we monitor it. This Franklin Township does not control the educational system, but we fund it. And we make sure that they have all the vehicles they need to move the kids forward. Sometimes I go to the school to talk to the kids that they should stay in school. They should be out of crime. Our police system is geared up in such a way that what we do is to counsel the kids and make sure that is one of the factors to reduce crime. When these kids, even in this country, when the kids are not in school, definitely they turn to other sides of their life. You know, they involve themselves in drugs, they involve themselves in stealing, they involve themselves of breaking cars, then it becomes a problem. Because in that case, it becomes a problem to me, my ward. I have to bring in more security in my ward to protect the members of the ward. It makes my job harder for me. So at long run, we try to step down all this. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. That's the first part of it. Tell us about your experience as the first African-born councilman in that township, and are you encouraging others to vie for such in other townships too?
Yes, absolutely. Initially, it was a little bit rough for me, being an African, a person with accent, but what it entails that I have to work harder than others. And I did. I worked harder than anyone. Yes. I remember one of the days I went to an interview with the panel, we call them the selective panel. They said, look, do you know that you're going to work harder than everybody? I said, yes, I know. Do you know that you're going to raise money than any other person? I said, yes. All those things are factors. But I encourage people to do. If you don't try, you're not going to succeed.
Yes.
It's very, very important that we have more numbers. And for my good friend is from Franklin. We all planned and we're part of it. We built what we call cells within Franklin. Those cells helps us a lot. What does it do? Individual diversity. We have to build cells on those diversity, and they all help us when they come together to propel our idea and philosophy too.
Let me remind us that we are on a program. This is the first edition, and the name of the program is Issues That Matter. Today, we are talking about community issues, and I have the honor and the privilege of having the best in this community. His Excellency Mansare, you're welcome, sir.
Thank you.
Honorable Luce Bonilafundo, youth propellant in this community, educator, public accountant, and community leader, Sir Alfonso Sawunzirike, philanthropist extraordinary, Sir Clement Eze, our deputy mayor, the first ever, Honorable Gochukwu Nwokoro, and our councilman, Charles Onyejiaka. We are still on Gossip TV. So ladies and gentlemen, let's do like a lightning round, 1 minute. Honorable Deputy Mayor, you have heard totality of what we have said here. How do you think anything can change for Nigerians, Africans in this community? Because he is talking about the 2030 agenda. How do you think things can change for us before that 2030? Because 2030 is, I think, how many years from now? 12?
Next tomorrow.
Yeah. So we need we need to aggregate our courses right now and see how do you think things can change for us in just 1 minute.
Okay, thank you very much. Well, things are already changing. By doing what we're doing here, things are changing. So speaking about it, first you identify it as a problem, and then you provide solution, and then you implement. So we know there's a problem within our society, which is not primarily like our people not working together, not helping each other. So by bringing this to this forum, things are changing. So we need to continue to spread the word, continue to talk about us, how to sustain ourselves. We can't do it, nobody's an island, you know. For instance, let me just talk about, use my office as an example, as the first African-born deputy mayor. If our people don't come around and participate in the politics of North, if I leave tomorrow, who replaces me? Somebody will replace me, but it might not be an African. So that is the way we have to continue. Continuity is the key. And you can continue when your brother is in a position, instead of you to collaborate, work with the individual, then you want to create, just like About the Life Ndo said, you don't create a parallel path,
Okay.
but you develop the path that is already created, and you sustain the growth. So things are changing by us talking about it, but we need to do better, collaborate better, and work and harness all these efforts that we make.
Thank you, sir. Sir Claire, let me jump to you. You heard what he said. I know that your philanthropy knows no bounds. I can attest to that. What propels you to do that? And joining it with what the deputy mayor said, how can you expand this?
I think I heard listening to Ambassador before, and he talked about the 2030 agenda, trying to stop Africans from immigrating to the United States or outside of Africa. While that is all fine and well, we've already identified that is the desperation, that is things that are happening in Africa, Nigeria, and a whole host of other countries that are driving our brothers and sisters to come to this shore. While we can't stop that when they are here, what is important now is that what do we do with them when they're here? You can't send them back. Now we have to start working to find ways to help them. Now let me give you an example of why you ask the question, what motivates me to give the philanthropy? I think every one of us, philanthropy is born in everyone. I don't think I have an exclusivity to it. But I look at it as the people or friends and brothers and sisters that are less privileged than I am. I happen to have, I schooled here, I work here, I lived here for as long as I have. And I have come across in many walks of life, our people, and I see how they struggle just to get the first job. I happen to be lucky. When I came out of college, I was hired, and since then I don't even know what it is to be on unemployment, to be frank with you. now that we have our brothers and sisters right here. And I say this in all sincerity, is to find ways, and for them also not to be shy to reach out to the people or those who have been here before them. We don't all have to go to universities. Quite frankly, as I mentioned here earlier before, I have Jamaicans, and I give them props for their strength, the ingenuity of trying. These are folks that came here like most of our current immigrants, have no education, have no skills, but they, somehow when they got in here, they found a way to learn the carpentry trade, learn the welding trade, electrical. They have businesses. One of them in a company about, I think it was about 4 or 5 years ago, my company, we were a little concerned about giving him a contract, and then they were asking me, do you really think that you want to invest in this guy? He kind of, he's kind of shaky. Because of course, once you have the same task and everybody's running away from you. And I said, let's take a chance. I know what, the life I went through. We did give him a job, a project. One of the many businesses who were doing it is an electrician. I won't mention the company's name. A job for $186,000. Today, the same company does over $6 million in electrical work without a company.
Wow.
That is the exception.
You gave him the first opportunity.
First opportunity, and why I bring this up is that I know he has more money than I do, because he's running his business, but that's the reward he gets for running the business. The effort he makes every night, rather than waiting for a paycheck. The paycheck can be taken away, just like it would be taken away from me, from you, or any other person. But the guy is taking the extra effort.
Not to cut you off, Sir Clem. How can you empower Nigerians to benefit like this guy you're talking about?
The difference,
just in a short sentence.
Yeah, the difference between some of these folks and I guess our folks. We are too proud to admit that I don't have it.
We need help.
And we need help. And the ego aside, because if you don't have the ego is one of the motivators for every man and woman. Because you have to have the pride in you. But I'm saying that some pride is so foolish. If you have no money, and I've seen a few of those individuals come to me, and to our company rather, and they say, listen, I have no money, but I know that I can sheetrock an apartment in one day. And when I hear I have no money, that's good, because that's what we have. We're trying to keep the money. But I know how to sheetrock an apartment, I get it done in one day. That's what we need from that side. So we have what he wants, and he has what we need. The marriage becomes synergy. Our people don't do that. They tell you, I have all the money, I'm ready to do all of it, and then when you put them in the game, and it's off and on.